This is CGTN, China Global Television Network.
.3 billion people live across this vast continent called Asia, and we are telling their stories. On this edition, the battle to liberate Iraq. Several villages in northern Iraq's city of Mosul are now free from ISIL. But what happens next? Fleeing the crossfire, tens of thousands of Iraqis are leaving their homes to escape the fighting and life under ISIL. And a family affair. We meet a man, his wife, and their children who are helping Iraq's desperate at a time of war. I'm Stephanie Freed, and this is Assignment Asia. Welcome to the program. We're here in northern Iraq, where government and militia forces have been battling ISIL for several months now. ISIL has controlled the city of Mosul since 2014, and today it is their last major stronghold. As the battle rages on, numerous villages have been recaptured from the militant group. Jack Barton visited a liberated community to meet families who are rebuilding their lives.
أتذكر يعني مثل هسه شلون هسه أتذكر يعني المواقف كلها. احنا سقط الموصل ويجوا على منطقتنا محور نيران وبعشيق هاي المنطقة سقطت. الطرق والسد طرق السيارات. احنا بقى بيدنا بس الجبل. اجوا على القرية ساعة تقريبا بال10:15 يجي بالليل. أنا أشوفهم ما يشوفون ظلمة الآن كهرباء ماكو. أشوف راسا قسم يجي على الباب وقسم راح سد الفرع راس الفرع. قاموا يدقون الباب افتح الباب. أول مرة بالكردي قال افتح الباب. احنا جماعتكم. أنا ما حكيت بس بلغتهم قلت لهم لا حد يحكي بالبيت. بالشبكة قالوا افتح الباب. احنا جماعتكم ما حكيت. أنا قلت للأولاد انهزموا.
It all happened more than 2 years ago, but the memories are still vivid for Jawad Abu Muhammad. In 2014, ISIL swept across northern and central Iraq until its fighters reached Fazlia, a small town in Iraq's Kurdish autonomous region. Jawad was then working for a government dairy firm.
هم اجوا كسروا الباب فاتوا جوا. قاموا يضربون بيهم وش اسمه. ابني الكبير راح على الجيران. راحوا طلعوه من جيران بالليل. هاي ساعة تقريبا صارت ب12 بالليل. وظلمة. طلعوا كتل وشلالي وراجديات ومسدس فوق راسه. جابوه من فوق السطح. بس نزل درج واحد دفعوه بالحوش وقاع. بس كل شوية يشيلون السيف على واحد بس تحكون نذبحكم هنا بالبيت. علي بس ابني الكبير بيدهم بس أنا خطلت نفسي مكان ظلمة ما يشوفوني بالليل. والله أنا قاعد للصبح بس ابني من دفعوه هم خلص نفسه انهزم ظلمة وختل نفسه. اجت الصبح تقريبا شوية صارت منكشف الجو وهم طلعوا من البيت. اجت قلت يلا حضروا نفسكم.
Fearing that his sons would be forced to join ISIL, he took them to safety. But his 2 sisters and brother remained.
وبس جنو واحد يرجع على منطقته مسقط راسه وبيته أحسن من غير مكان.
Today, Jawad is trying to reach Fazlia for the first time since ISIL's invasion. It's a 2-hour drive with many Kurdish Peshmerga checkpoints along the way. In Fazlia, Jawad's sister Amina waits, but she may have to wait longer. Jawad has been turned back at a checkpoint. the road is still considered too dangerous.
يا والله على هسه يرجعون هسه عم تعبانين هناك وكم عجاي وراها والله ولاده كبار هاي الكبار هيك بس هاي عنده بنيه وعنده اولاد شويه هاي كله عاجز منها.
As tough as life is for Amina's brother in the camp, she says life under ISIL was far worse.
كل شيء اكو يعني بالجريه وبالموصل يجون يروحون بالليل وبالنهار يعني سوا واكو غراض كل شيء يعني كل شيء متفور بالجريه وبعد ما جاء قطعوا كل شيء هاي السنتين علينا احنا محصورين عندهم كل شيء ماكو لا اكل ولا شرب ولا كل شيء ماكو
حتى شغل ماكو
حتى قطع رزق هجموا علينا ولا قتل ولا شتل ولا فشر كل شيء يسوون ويبوه وينهب كل شيء يسوون هاي
يعني
لا
ينهبون
ابد كل شيء ما خلى لنا اخذوا راحوا.
The sisters fled to their other brother's house at the top of the village and stayed there for more than a year. Their brother Fiad takes me on a tour of the town. It's clear why the Kurdish Peshmerga, which controls this area, is not keen for people to return from the camps just yet.
وهاي المفخخة هاي أغراض المال المفخخة اللي هنا السيارة هنا كانوا مخدرينهم بالبيت هذا كان سيارة مفخخة وهذا أغراض المفخخة.
See the bomb right there.
There's still a bomb sitting out front where the children play. Fiad shows me his grocery store, which remained open under ISIL, but with only a handful of goods.
ISIL took all the stock from Faid's supermarket, but he's slowly getting some supplies back in here. The villagers returning to life, but what hasn't returned yet is the electricity. And of course, residents hope that will be coming soon.
Inside his house, Fiad points to where what he believes was an ISIL chemical weapon struck his roof during the fight to recapture the town.
التانك كله اندمر راح الماي نزل وزرف هذا الماي نزل شلون صار مثل حليب اللون ماله صار مثل حليب ومن الريحه راسا طلعنا شردنا احنا والجوارين هذا مكان الخردل اللي ضربوه.
On the roof I can see where the water tank used to stand and the nearby mountains which prevented ISIL from pushing further north. There's still a minefield between the village and these peaks.
قبل كانوا يجون يقفون بصف البيوت وبين الناس يرمون على الجبل والجبل يرمي علينا طبعا احنا من يترضى احنا هم كانوا يشردون يروحون وكانوا يجون على المحلات انت ليش جاتك طويل قصروا هيك ليش لهيتك قصير طولوا ما ادري شلون النسوة ليش ما لابسات خمار وطلقات علينا فوق.
It's only been a few weeks since this town was recaptured, but already it's rebounding. It's okay to smoke again or own a mobile phone. Under ISIL, just owning a SIM card could sometimes lead to punishment by death. With facial hair no longer regulated, business at the local barbershop is booming.
وقت داعش شغل كان قليل يعني باليوم زيني 4 على 5 زباين عندي شغل قليل كان خيط ماكو حفل وجه ماكو حفر ماكو زيال لحية ماكو هاي الشغلات بس هسه زين حكو شغل زين الحمد لله شغلنا هواية هسه يعني وزيان عادي حفر اكو زيان لحية اكو خيط اكو الحمد لله الشغل زين هسه.
This is one of the lucky towns that was not reduced to rubble.
You can see the shrapnel damage on the roof from a bomb, but this home is relatively intact, as is the entire village. That's not the case of many of the towns we drove through on the way here. They've been reduced to rubble. For the people that once lived there, there's nowhere to come home to.
Amina hopes travel restrictions will end soon, so her brother can come home and other divided families in this town can be reunited. Back in the camp, Jawad longs to return home. He's spoken to friends and family on the phone and say they've not changed. But he has also grown wearily accustomed to life in the camp.
لأن أنا بالمخيم الحمد لله ما محتاج كل شيء من الأكل من الملبس من الملحقات يعني تابع الخيمة للعائلة، كل شيء ما محتاج كل شيء. ومن أطلع برا يعني جماعة واحد يشوف الثاني نقعد ننسى الأول والتالي وننام براحتنا للصبح. قبل هناك ما نقدر ننام. هاي جاك هذا، هاي جاك هذاك، هذا جاك.
Fazlia is just one town. And this is just one camp in a country with millions of displaced people and families separated by conflict. What many Iraqis want now is an end to the sectarian politics that have torn this country apart and largely led to the rise of ISIL as the nation tries to heal and rebuild. For Assignment Asia, I'm Jack Barton in northern Iraq.
Although there has been progress in the campaign to retake Mosul's villages from ISIL, it is far from over. And authorities predict a tough fight ahead as they move deeper into the city. Next on Assignment Asia, the stories of Iraq's internal refugees. More than 70,000 people fled their homes in Mosul when the campaign to retake the city from ISIL started in October 2016. They experienced not only the horror of running away from the fighting, but also of living under ISIL's oppressive rule for years. Natalie Carney takes us into refugee camps where people are relatively safe, but still live in fear.
These are the faces of survivors. Not only did they survive 2 years living under ISIL, they risked everything to escape it.
يعني قصف متبادل بيناتهم. والله نحن قلنا ما نطلع من القرية مالتنا.
Since the onset of the battle to liberate Mosul from ISIL, the coalition of forces from the Iraqi military, Kurdish Peshmerga, and small militia groups have known the fight would be long and difficult. Aid agencies immediately prepared for the arrival of hundreds of thousands of refugees expected to flee the fighting. We visited Zelikan camp northeast of Mosul shortly after it opened.
The United Nations has called for a pause in the fighting to deal with the mounting humanitarian needs. It says this fight for Mosul could produce the largest and most complex humanitarian effort this year.
These people still live in fear. Fear that ISIL would see their faces, hear their voices, and kill their relatives who were still in ISIL-controlled areas. Ahmed ended up at the camp after struggling against the odds.
بالبداية كان القصف، أنا صابت بالقصف، بعدين لما ظلوا يشاغلون 3 أيام توفت عندنا طفل ومرأة هم توفت، وعندنا كانوا جرحى 4 5 كل تجرحنا بعد القصف.
For days, Ahmed was trapped in the rubble of his destroyed house with a massive wound on his leg.
معاملة سيئة بشكل. الشروط النساء ما تطلع بدون جلباب وما جلباب وشروط كاملة، إذا واحدة منهم تطلع يتحاسب زوجها وينجلد جلد. الأطفال منعوهم من المدارس والتعليم، يعني شنو هي المعاملة؟ المولدات ياخذون امبيرات، ما مو ياخذون، وحتى الاجور مال الكهرباء هي ماكو كهرباء عشان ياخذون اجور كهرباء، مي ماكو ياخذون اجور مال مي، والاجار البيوت اللي كانوا طالعين هم ياخذون منهم اجارات، المواد الغذائيه بالسعر 7 اسعار غاليه فرد مرة، والمواطن لا شغل ولا عمل والعالم فطست من الجوع، ما ظل اللي كان عنده فلوس هم يعني كله ما ظل كل شيء.
Upon arriving at a camp, people are registered and go through security screening to ensure they are not ISIL militants. Once cleared, they're assigned a tent and given relief supplies.
So this is the typical tent setup that you see in most refugee camps where the new refugees are placed. In this case, they are given a small gas canister here so they can do some amount of cooking, some plastic basins, wash basins so they can wash their dishes, as well as some clothes. Now here is sort of the living, sleeping area. From what I understand, about 12 people can live in this space. They are given mattresses, in this case 2, for sleeping and for sitting on during the day. All these tents are wind and rain proof, so they can stop the weather elements from actually affecting the people. And you'll also see here there's electricity available for these tents. But if you come back here, this is the interesting part. Back here is another compartment which many people use as somewhat of a kitchen as well as a play area for the children. Now, this may not be ideal circumstances, but when you're escaping war and trying to save the life of yourself and your children, most people don't mind.
While aid agencies are doing what they can to accommodate large groups of displaced people, their resources are scarce.
The people that you see here are from the outskirts and villages surrounding the area. What we're prepared to do, what we've committed to, for our part of the humanitarian response, we're only 50% funded.
Debega refugee camp outside the regional capital of Erbil was set up when ISIL entered the area back in 2014. More than 36,000 people have been through this camp, and many continue to arrive daily, risking everything to make the dangerous escape. Ibrahim Hussein Mohammed knows the risks all too well.
جينا من عند قرية قنعوص عليا على الحاج علي، فنعبر أنا وعائلتي. بنت واحدة بنفس المكان العبوة طققتها بساتها. نفس المكان طقت، حطينا عليها تراب لا يمناها وما شالتها. ما أشوف تراب عجاج، لأن صارت هذا عندنا هذا شوية عقله يعني حيل تخلخل. هذا شاف أخته شافه وكومه بجبة لميناه هيك بخب، راسها واحد، يديها واحد، رجليها واحد، هيك كلها سوى. هذا من 9 سنين كلها واحد.
بعدين وصلتوا للجيش؟
اي وصلنا للجيش، استقبلونا راسا شالوها بالبطانية هذا المطعونة. الثانية هي متوفية يعني من شالوها، بس قلنا خاف انها تظل هناك وتكرم كلاب تاكلها بالليل شيء يعني من نعوفها. ولا احنا قلنا لهم طيبة، وشالوها عاد بالبطانية على المستشفى وقالوا هذه متوفية صار لها 10 دقائق من الحدث ماله.
Throughout the camp, stories like this are common.
According to charity organizations, this assault on Mosul puts upwards of 600,000 children at risk, and they're all vulnerable to the same things as adults: rape, torture, and murder.
Nazar Al-Farar, a former police officer, invited us into the container he and his family have been sharing with his brother's 4 children. Nazar assumed responsibility for his brother's children after their mother disappeared.
وأنا قاتلت هسه أنا مثل ما يقولون مدني، ورحت بالحشيد وقاتلنا وطردناهم. يعني نريد احنا العفو بصراحة، يعني الناس تعبت. يعني هسه أنا راح أرجع على القرية، راتب ما عندي، بيتي مفلش، شلون راح يعني أنتِ؟
Despite the progress of the campaign against ISIL, officials say many families are choosing to stay at refugee camps, placing more pressure on resources as new people arrive.
A lot of people here whose villages have been liberated like a year ago, but they don't want to go back because they don't have the basic services in their cities. Their houses have been destroyed.
Jamel Jasmine and his family fled the central Iraqi city of Fallujah in 2013. Iraqi security forces pushed ISIL out of Fallujah in June 2016, but few of the basic services there have been restored.
والله طلعنا بطرق الدشاديش، طرق ملابسنا، يعني ما كنا نتوقع المعركة طول 3 سنين وأكثر من 3 سنين. يعني كنا نتصور انه شهر زمان شهرين وكل من يرجع. هسه حتى احنا بيوتنا بالفلوجة مدمرة والله متأذية. لا والله هناك بيتنا بس هنا ايجار. والله دزلنا صور متأذية. اي والله متأذية، يعني حارقين الأخشاب وشغلات مكسرة.
Over the years, Iraqis have experienced some of the world's worst fighting.
كل بلدان العالم ما شاف هيك مأساة برد نوم مأساة.
They have suffered some of the worst personal losses.
لا حقوق والدي راح قتلوا داعش واشتغل كم سنة وياهم من 2003 إلى طبوا القذرات. هو يعني شرطة، هو نعرفه بطل، يعرفونه جماعته، يعرفونه بالفوج ماله.
Many have fallen into despair.
والله احنا يمكن العراقيين ما ظل مستقبل. يمكن فلا ظل مستقبل بالعراق. يعني منين المستقبل؟ يعني يجوز سنة يجوز هم يصير نفس الحالة تظل تكرر، يعني ماكو مستقبل. ترجع هناك أمان ماكو، يعني ما العراق انتهى، يعني المستقبل ما له أي مستقبل. يعني أنا هسه عاني لو مثل مكان البنات ميت أحسن من ما عايش يعني.
Yet despite the Iraqi people's unrelenting struggles, the world is also witnessing their strength.
To see the resilience and the strength in all of these individuals, they're survivors. And they've been surviving for 2 years. It's been incredibly humbling.
After everything they've been through, many have also kept their dignity intact. And they all hope that one day, this will prove greater than war. For Assignment Asia, I'm Natalie Carney in northern Iraq.
Thousands of Iraqi refugees have made their way north to Turkey and west to Syria, where conditions are as harsh. But many others have chosen to remain in their villages as the conflict goes on. When we return, get to know a family distributing food to Iraq's needy despite the danger. It's not your usual family activity. An American man in Iraq since 2015 with his wife and 3 kids, distributing food to Iraqis caught in the ongoing conflict. Along with a group of volunteers, David Eubank goes to places too risky for even international aid agencies to reach. I joined him and his family on a convoy and saw the people they helped along the way.
That's the only way we get stuff done.
We got these boxes for how many, Dave? How many boxes are here? 1,000 boxes of sanitation things, hygiene kits, and then how many thousand baby formulas?
About 1,600.
1,600 cans of baby formula? Okay.
David Eubank considers it his calling. The former U.S. Special Forces Ranger moves supplies to Iraqi civilians caught on Mosul's front lines.
Wipes, diapers, and these are the kind of things people run out of in their baby powder, soap.
Security protocol bars major NGOs from going where he goes, so they give him the goods to deliver.
Who's going to bring the white one?
David is the founder and leader of a humanitarian service group that helps oppressed people in war zones like Iraq.
Just here on the side of the road?
His support team, the Iraqi army, volunteers, and his family, wife Karen, teenage daughters Saheli and Suzanne, and 11-year-old Peter.
We're like almost the same as other normal kids. We have like iPhones, iPods, stuff like that, and like we go to malls and stuff like that too.
That's when they're not in conflict zones like Syria, Sudan, Kurdistan, and now Iraq.
That's an anti-armor RPG warhead. Just sitting there? Yeah, be careful, Pete. Don't drop it. It's live. Man.
Dave, driven by military training, passion, and religious faith, is trying to teach his kids life lessons that go way beyond school books and classrooms.
They know it's not a game. They know they can get killed. And we try to mitigate the risk. But we always look at what's the mission first, not what's safe. If that happened to your family, if your village was burned down, your town in America was burned down, you would not have any of those rules. You would help right now. You wouldn't be talking about risk assessments and dangers. Attack, Pete.
آمين آمين شلونك؟ Hey General, David, شلونك? Good to see you.
General Mustafa's compound is in an Iraqi army-controlled part of Mosul. The team needs the general's okay and his soldier escorts to move goods to the front lines. The general insists, supply the locals first,
أريد توزع لهم كل بيت حصة غذائية لهم.
ممنون زوسباس.
And go to the front line tomorrow.
شكرا.
الله يوفقك. محمود طه. محمود طه.
محمود. Thank you.
Some people, and maybe they're minority, definitely are on the side of ISIS. So it's a mess. So why do we help them? One is we don't know who's who. So we help everyone. We see a kid, we see someone who has, the kid has no choice. We help them.
Today's plan, a performance for area children, respite from months of heavy fighting. After the performance, food distribution.
Shukran. Shukran. Oh, big boy. Thank you for coming. God bless you.
While this is happening inside,
I pray for you. God gives you a good life.
this is what's developing outside. David is forced to make a decision.
So right now, in the middle of the kids program, ISIS starts attacking us. And so now we're gonna get the kids out. So we're just thinking, that's pretty serious.
And it's not too far. Food distribution will have to wait.
Stay inside. You gotta wait for the Humvees to go. They're not ready yet. Once you go inside, it's better. Okay, when you guys stay in here.
I got it. Don't worry.
Acutely aware of the danger, David is now armed and wearing a flak jacket.
To know that you're not bound by fear, you're not bound by comfort, and that there's goodness even in crisis, and they've showed that. They show me that by being calm and caring about the people.
Back at base, they're still not out of danger.
If you leave this little area, tell somebody, and don't go very far because it's hard to see, and they can penetrate this place.
David and his children say they're used to these type scenarios, but the debrief tells a different story.
Pete, how are you? You okay?
Yeah, I feel fine.
Sue?
Good.
What'd you really feel?
It was a little bit different than what we've had in Burma, but it was nice. I mean, fun. Fine.
Organic? Organic?
Okay, Sue.
None of us want to die, but there's a kid over there getting shot at. Don't give me any of these rules, man. Of course we want to live, but we can find a way to help them. Don't talk about all the things we can't do.
The danger they encountered today is a daily reality for many Iraqis caught in the conflict, which is why David is willing to face the risk to help alleviate at least some of the suffering. Dave says he'll stay in Iraq until Mosul is free, which could be a long time. The advance to retake Mosul from ISIL is slow-moving, measured in city blocks, apartment buildings, and meters. That's all the time we have for this week. I'm Stephanie Freed. Thank you for watching. Join us again on Assignment Asia.